Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Mike, Grey 1951, and I would like to talk very briefly about a film I watched this week. It's American History X, which came out in 1998, and I've never seen this before. I've always been mildly curious about it, but I never, to be very honest with you, if I had not found this on sale at Barnes & Noble for $5, I probably never would have bought it and would never have seen it. So didn't know what to expect, other than I figured it was going to be a bloody, violent mess, and didn't know if I would like it or not. But I couldn't have been more wrong. This is one of the most incredible things I have ever seen. I was really impressed by it, very moved by it. And I don't think I have to talk that much about the plot, because I'm sure everybody who might watch this video has already seen this. But Edward Norton plays a guy named Derek Vineyard, who is a white supremacist, skinhead, and hates everybody who was not white and Protestant. And he commits a horrendous murder and gets put into jail, and then miraculously enough he gets out after a few years, and he's a completely changed man, and he goes back into his life with his family, and he tries to just really tries to start a new life, and especially trying to help his younger brother Danny, played by Edward Furlong, who is going in the same path that Derek had gone into the white supremacist movement. So that's the plot, and it's a very difficult film to watch because it has so much ugliness and so much hatred and so much prejudice. And I don't, even though there was a lot of realism in the scenes and the violence and the interactions between people, which are completely believable, I don't look upon this as a realistic film. I think of it more as a fable. It's kind of like a Greek tragedy. And there are some holes in the plot that to me make it a little bit not logical. The progression of events, for example, the murder that, or the killing, I guess was called manslaughter, because he was, the killing that he committed against these guys that got him in jail in the first place was so, I mean, it was so horrible that it doesn't make any sense that he would go into jail for just a few years on a manslaughter charge and then get out very quickly. That doesn't make logical sense. It also doesn't make logical sense to me that he would not be beaten up or killed in prison by the men who would like to take revenge on him for killing, you know, someone in a racially motivated killing. But all those things were necessary to make the story go along, because, as I said, it is a fable, and it is very much like a Greek tragedy. So it had to move along to the point where a lesson is being taught and hopefully learned by the viewer. It also didn't make sense to me that when he came out of jail and he met up with some of his friends again, who in the white supremacist movement, including his girlfriend, that because he expressed a desire to change and get out of this life, that these people who supposedly cared about him would turn against him so quickly. But again, it was necessary to advance the story. And I have to say that this movie is very, very difficult to watch for me, because, as I've said in other videos, I'm not a huge fan of screen violence. I try to avoid it as much as possible. But if you watch any movie in this day and age, certainly you can't do that. But I can understand that the violence in this story had to be as ugly as it was, so that you would understand the depth of well, the results of hatred, the results of prejudice, the results of stereotyping people, and revenge. Okay, all these things, these things were being put into a form of a lesson for the viewer to learn, and it was beautifully done. And I think I will watch this film again and again, even though there are parts of it where I'm repelled by what's happening, and everything about it is first rate. The actors are all good. Edward Norton, Edward Furlong, Beverly D'Angelo, who played their mother. She's a very underrated actress who is capable of a lot more than she's been given the chance to do on screen, and she was wonderful in this. I think she probably gives all around the best performance of anybody in the film. Stacy Keach is in it. He plays the head of the white supremacist movement. Very believable. Also, Elliot Gould, very good to see him. And a couple of my Star Trek heroes, Avery Brooks, who played in Deep Space Nine. He plays an educator in this film. Great performance by Avery Brooks. And also Jennifer Lean, who was in Star Trek Voyager, who I did not recognize. I must have missed her name in the opening credits, and when I saw it at the closing credits, I thought that was Jennifer Lean. I couldn't believe it. She was very, very good. I like the way this is filmed. They use black and white photography for the flashbacks and establishing the character and for a lot of his memories and experiences when he was in prison. And yeah, it's just brilliantly done, and so sad to watch what happens to people. I think this is a lesson that, for those of us who live in the United States, these are lessons we need to learn all the time, because there are so many things, the way people act and what people say in this film, that I recognize just from being out in everyday life in America, that it's so easy for almost anybody to slip into that kind of hatred. Well, not necessarily hatred. I don't think everybody is capable of that kind of racial hatred, but it's very easy for us in America to slip back into looking at someone as a stereotype and not as a person, to slip back into prejudicial things that we were taught when we were young and that we grew up with, and can still come back to haunt us, you know. And I don't know, well, anyway, I just wanted to say, highly recommend it if you haven't seen this, and I'm probably the last person in the world who has not seen it, but who hadn't seen it, but I'm very glad that I did now. So that's my video. Thank you for watching, and comments are always welcome. Take care.